Several years ago, Turkey launched its Blue Homeland doctrine, a strategy to protect maritime rights and political interests along its coasts. Part of the plan included the commissioning of a new, more advanced fleet, comprising drone-capable light carriers and advanced radar ships. A major part of that push was unveiled last month. The TCG Derya, the second largest warship in Turkey's fleet, was commissioned along with 3 other vessels as part of the country's drive to use more military hardware produced at home. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who opened the ceremony, said the localization rate of the country's naval projects had reached 80%. In November last year, Turkey carried out maritime exercises off its southern coast to test the operational capabilities of its naval forces, together with NATO's task force. Late last year, the U.S. deployed warships to the region to deter hostile actions against Israel, which is embroiled in a brutal conflict in Gaza, where tens of thousands of civilians have been killed. The ongoing fighting in Ukraine has also presented new security challenges for the Black Sea, prompting Turkiye to push for the safe passage of international shipping. And to further discuss Turkey's naval strategy, joining me now from Budapest is Zoltan Egeresi. He is a political analyst, and from Istanbul, Tarık Ozu. He is a professor at Istanbul Aydın University. A warm welcome to you both, and thanks for joining me on Straight Talk. So, Tarık, Turkey has added 3 new warships and an unmanned surface vehicle to its navy's inventory, the TCG Derya becoming the second largest warship after the TCG Anadolu. So talk to us about the importance of this very expansion.
I think this is a very important event in terms of increasing the degree of national production. I mean, Turkey has been already going through such kind of a process for some time. The degree of reliance on foreign sources has already decreased to a significant extent in the context of improving Turkey's air force capacity, army capacity, and this time naval capacity has also been added to this ongoing event. So investing in national production is also very much in line with Turkey's strategic autonomy and middle power-oriented foreign policy conceptualization or geopolitical imagination. So this is a very important event from this particular perspective, but it also implies that Turkey's relations with its allies, with the NATO, cannot be taken for granted. So Turkey cannot that much rely on security protection given by NATO or the United States. So the Trump example is already with us. So investing in our national production capacity is very much important. In addition to that, we already know that Turkish decision makers has put the concept of forward defense at the very center of Turkey's naval strategy. And further, forward defense requires a strong navy, as we can assume, and also it requires increasing Turkey's expeditionary warfare capability as well. So yes, looking to the issue from a military perspective, the goal seems to be to stay on the sea surface as long as possible. So we have to approach this from this perspective.
So Zoltan, how will these vessels enhance and meet Turkey's security? I mean, what type of maritime challenges does Turkey face right now?
Turkey faces several challenges, at least due to its geopolitical position. It had to face a war in Ukraine, in the Black Sea region. There are, if we look at the last decades, traditional conflicts and tensions with Greece and Cyprus. And during last years, we can see an increased level of hotspots and difficulties in the Eastern Mediterranean. And in line with that, Turkey is expressed a more active foreign policy, not just in its own neighborhood, but in a regional context as well, which means that Turkey has to be more, show a stronger navy as well. And the new vessels will also enhance the capability of the Turkish Navy to defend the Turkish interests and serve as a deterring factor. The 2 of the 4 warships commissioned this year are kind of supply ships, and they will greatly enhance the operability of the TCG Anadolu and its entourage and other combatant warships that we can count on. And also we can see in these 4 ships the Istanbul frigate, which is a new one, and we can see that other frigates in the same class will follow this vessel. So the Turkish Navy is getting stronger at the regional level as well, and by having these supply ships, it already managed to greatly enhance its already existing capabilities.
So Tarık, how close is Turkey to fully developing and producing its own naval vessels, or has it already become self-sufficient?
I think it is not that much easier to give a clear number in terms of producing each and everything you need on domestic resources. This is technically impossible to achieve a 100% reliance on internal resources. So in one way or another, you have to get something from abroad to produce something at home. But at least given the latest ratio, Turkey has already become at 65, 70, according to some circles, 75% dependent on its national resources. This is something a quite important achievement. But let me also tell you something about the reasons why we have been talking about such kind of naval strategy in the context of Turkey. We also know that Turkey is a trading country, you know it, and more than 80% of Turkey's trade is conducted through sea. So assuming that there are some geopolitical conflicts nearby, those conflicts might have potentially obstruct Turkey's seaborne trade. So you have to have a strong naval capacity in the sea to make sure that you have this trade relationship with your partners uninterrupted. But this is also important from this perspective as well. That's why the war in Ukraine and Gaza seem to be quite motivating factors in terms of pushing Turkish authorities to invest more and more on internal naval capacity.
So Zoltan, where do Turkish naval capabilities stand when compared to its neighbors?
We can see that Turkish Navy is a really strong player in the region. Of course, compared to Russia, we can see smaller numbers. However, compared to the other neighbors, especially with Greece, we can fairly say that the Turkish Navy has greater capabilities and greater fleet. And especially if you take into consideration the last probably 1 year achievements with the TCG Derya and the new ships, the Turkish Navy is getting ahead compared to its own neighbor. In the Eastern Mediterranean, there is only one country having this amphibious assault ship, which is the TCG Derya. This is Egypt. So compared to the other countries, Turkey is a really strong one. And even if we can see an armed race with other neighboring countries, Turkey is in advance.
So Tarık, what impact have the outbreak of tensions and wars in its imminent neighborhood had its plans to strengthen its navy, or have all these been planned long before?
I think the picture is quite clear to us because the war in Ukraine and Gaza have already caused some obstructions in terms of globalized trade dynamics. So Turkey, being a trading state, is very much dependent on uninterrupted traffic on the seas. So any kind of blocking, any kind of obstruction in the Black Sea region, in the Red Sea area, would have some negative consequences on Turkey's national interest, particularly economic interest. So Turkey needs to be present in these sea areas. So having this capacity on its disposal will allow Turkey to make itself seen, to make itself present in this particular geographical locations. But we should also not forget the fact that many other countries are already present in this region. I mean, American Navy is here, French Navy is here, Russian Navy is here. And the wars and geopolitical competitions in today's international environment requires a naval capacity more than ever. So you don't need to be powerful in terms of your air force or armed forces capacity. But if you are absent in the sea, you wouldn't have enough, how can I say it? You wouldn't be able to demonstrate your potential as a geopolitical actor. So it is very much important in this sense as well.
So, Zoltan, what do you think? Is the Eastern Mediterranean likely to become the next hotspot, given the war in Gaza, competing claims, and the discovery of gas fields not too long?
I will argue that the Eastern Mediterranean region will continue to be a hotspot. So if you look at the probably couple of last years or 1 decade, We can see recurring problems concerning gas field with Cyprus or around Cyprus, within Greece, with Libya, and so on. So these kind of issues will be on the political and military agenda in the upcoming years as well, as the Mediterranean, Eastern Mediterranean, and the Middle East will remain in the really fluid region from this security respect. So from this point of view as well, the Turkish military and the Turkish Navy has to be in line with contemporary challenges and requirements in order to keep, or in order to represent the Turkish interest, not just in the close neighborhood of Turkey.
So, Tarık, is Turkish Navy overstretching its muscles?
I don't think so. Turkey has been investing in this naval capacity, but from a defensive perspective, from the perspective that we need to have a forward defense mentality at the very center of our naval strategy. But it doesn't mean that we are overstretching its capacity, because there is still a long way to go, actually. And Turkey is investing in this capacity, but it doesn't mean that Turkish authorities are trying to put some geopolitical claims to some far distant places. The goal is to protect the national homeland, and the goal is to make sure that this trade goes on uninterrupted. So any money you put in this particular investment shouldn't be seen as a kind of overstretching.
So, Zoltan, I need a very quick answer. Speaking of Blue Homeland, how is the American and British naval presence in the Eastern Mediterranean risking stability in the region?
I mean, their presence is also a lasting issue for decades, and I don't think that they are really risking the stability in the region. They are rather interested in conserving the current status quo in that part of the world.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.